Hey guys, this is Laura from Purl Soho, and I'm going to demonstrate two-color honeycomb brioche stitch. As you can see here, I have a swatch worked up, and my swatch is on a double-pointed needle. This stitch can either be worked on a double-pointed needle or a circular needle, but not a traditional straight needle that has a cap on one end. All right, I'm going to start with row 1. Row 1 is worked with the contrast color. So here I have it. This darker color for my swatch here. The first step of row 1 is to slip one. So I'm going to slip the first stitch purlwise with my yarn in back. The next step is to look for that yarn over from the previous row and kind of nudge it towards the left. And I want to do that in order to knit its paired stitch, like so. Now, I'm going to keep my yarn in the back. I'm going to slip this yarn over purlwise. The next step is to knit one. So we're going to repeat those steps. I'm going to nudge the yarn over towards the left. I'm going to knit its pair, slip the yarn over purlwise with yarn in back, and knit one. Nudge this yarn over towards the left, knit its pair, slip the yarn over purlwise with yarn in back, and knit one. So I've just completed row 1 with using my contrast color, and I'm ready to work row 2. But instead of turning my work to work row 2, I'm going to slide it to the other end of this needle. And the reason I'm doing that is because row 2 is also worked across the right side of the fabric. It's worked with the main color, which is right here. All right, so the first thing you do in row 2 is knit one. There we go. And now we get into the repeat. So the repeat begins by brioche, purl 2 together. So what you want to do is identify the yarn over from the row below and its paired stitch. And you're going to purl those two together. So brioche, purl 2 together, just like that. The next step is to YOS, yarn over slip. So this is kind of all done in tandem, like all at once. So I'm going to slip this stitch purlwise and simultaneously take this working yarn over the top of the needle to create that yarn over. And since my next step is purling, I'm going to bring it back to the front in order to brioche, purl 2 together. There we go. And now we YOS and brioche, purl 2 together. YOS, brioche, purl 2 together. I've just completed row 2, and I worked that with my main color, and now I'm ready to work row 3. And to work row 3, I'm going to turn my work. So I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to work row 3 with the contrast color. So I want to bring the new yarn I'm about to work with underneath the yarn I just worked with. So I'm bringing my contrast color underneath my main color. Now the first step of row 3 is to slip one, and I'm going to slip one purlwise with the yarn in front, just like this. And now I'm going to purl one. And now I'm going to just slip this yarn over, again with my yarn in front, and purl 2. And that's your repeat. So I'm going to slip this yarn over with my yarn in front, purl 2. All right, I've just finished row 3 with working with my contrast color, and to work row 4, rather than turning my work, what I'm going to do is slide my work to the end of this needle. And I'm going to work row 4 across this wrong side row, or with the wrong side facing me rather, and I'm going to work it with my main color, which is right here waiting for me. So the first part of row 4 is to knit one. The next step is called a YOS. So I'm going to bring my yarn to the front in order to make the yarn over part of the YOS, yarn over slip. So bringing my yarn to the front, I'm going to slip this stitch purlwise, I'm going to carry this yarn across the top of my working needle to create that yarn over. And now with my yarn in back, I'm ready to do the next step, which is a brioche knit two together. So I have my yarn over here and it's paired stitch, and I'm going to work those two together. So once again, I'm going to YOS, so yarn to the front, slip the stitch purlwise, pull my yarn across the top of my working needle, and then I'm going to brioche knit two together. Yarn to the front, YOS, brioche knit two together. Yarn to the front, part of my YOS, slipping that purlwise, yarn over the top of the needle, and then I'm knitting the yarn over and it's paired stitch together.